Optimal health for high performers. This is the Health Upgrade Podcast with Dr. Nawaz Habib.
Hi everyone, it's Dr. Habib. Today's 10-minute upgrade episode is on the topic of breath and breathing. We take 20 to 25,000 breaths per day. And generally, the vast majority of those are done unconsciously or subconsciously. We're not aware of the breath very often. And that's a really important thing that we want to talk about today. What is breathing? Why is it so important? And how does it affect us and our bodies and our health? What do we need to do to make it better? So breathing is really, really important, pretty obviously. We breathe, like I said, 25,000 times per day, anywhere between 8 and 20 breaths per minute. And obviously that's going to increase if we're exercising. It's going to be higher for children. It's going to be higher in certain conditions as well if our breath is, or if lungs are damaged. And so what I want to talk a little bit about is how can we use the breath? How can we control our breath to make it work for us so that we can optimize our overall health, so that we can feel upgraded? The breath really is our most amazing tool in allowing us to shift our physiology. We breathe really, really quickly when we're under stress. When we're in a sympathetic fight or flight mechanism or fight or flight physiology, we are breathing quite quickly. Our breath rate goes up, and we tend to breathe through our mouth. When we're not, when we're at rest, when we're in the rest, digest, recovery phase, our breathing tends to be through our nose where possible. And the rate of it tends to be quite a bit slower. And that's really important. We're also going to be breathing more deeply and into a better area. So there's 3 things that I want to talk about on how to upgrade your breathing. The first one is awareness. I want us to become far more aware of our breathing. This is something that I've been struggling with. I struggled with for a very long time, especially when my weight was out of control. And I would obviously be taking a lot more deeper breaths, and I would generally stop breathing from time to time. I didn't even notice it. It was pointed out to me by my wife that my breath would actually stop, and I would immediately have to take a big inspiration of breath. I would have to inspire quite a bit. And that was something that was obviously caused by my health challenges at the time. When we are unaware of this, when we are not fully aware of our breath rate, and the vast majority of the time we're not, using awareness is a great way to help to shift our physiology in a very positive direction, simply by becoming aware. So what I like to do is anytime that the stress levels get a little bit high, the anxiety is there, something is going on and I just don't feel completely right and I feel like something's wrong, I'll immediately put one hand on my chest and one hand on my belly, and I'll take a moment, close my eyes, and I'll take a deep breath. And the goal here is to make sure that my top hand, the hand that is on my chest, is not the one that's moving, that I'm not getting that movement occurring in my chest, but that the movement is occurring in my abdomen, that my belly is breathing, okay? That I'm using my belly for my breath. That's a great way to just shift your physiology from not feeling so good, sympathetic fight or flight, into that parasympathetic rest and digest and recovery zone. Awareness is really important, and being able to take that and immediately become aware and be able to shift that is a tool that we can use really effectively. Number 2 is making sure that we're breathing through the right tube. We have 2 tubes in our mouth, and one is for breathing and one is for eating. We breathe through our nose, we eat with our mouth. I've been guilty of this in the past as well, being a mouth breather, especially at night. And when we breathe through our mouth, we're not exactly giving the opportunity for the air that comes in to be humidified, to be filtered, and to get to the lungs the most effective way. Yes, it is a bigger hole, but there's a lot more going on in our nose than we can really think of. So let's think through this. Our nose contains nasal hairs. The hairs are actually particulate matter filters. They're actually going to filter out things that we are breathing in. If we breathe through our mouth, our teeth are not filters for the air. Anything can really get through: viruses, bacteria, particulate matter, you name it. These challenges then come into our lungs without being filtered out. So naturally, we have a filter built in. We should probably be using it through our nose. The next place that the air goes is it goes in through the nose and it goes into the sinuses. And we have 4 sinuses, and those sinuses help to humidify the air and help to eliminate or create an immune response towards any viruses, bacteria, parasites. Anything that shouldn't be there gets very easily filtered out and attacked. And so we can make sure that no bacteria or viruses are coming into the lungs, or we limit the amount of that coming into our lungs because we're filtering that out and then attacking accordingly. So it goes through the sinuses and then it goes to the lungs. There's 2 very important steps there. As well as being humidified in the sinuses, we're also making sure that we're changing the temperature of the air to be more effective for our body as well. So the humidification, temperature, immune system, and the filtration all occurs up here before that air even gets down to the lungs. So this is a really important factor and why we should be breathing through our nose and not through our mouth. The third thing we want to do is we want to make absolutely certain that we are using our diaphragm when we're breathing. Too many of us breathe exclusively with our chest. We've either been trained to make sure that our bellies are really, really tight and in, and that they shouldn't be coming out. And too many of us have trained ourselves to make sure that we're taking that deep breath in using our chest because we watch these things happen on TV or on the internet. We watch people doing these things and we take these cues as children watching our parents do these things. So what we need to learn is when we're taking a deep breath, the way we should be breathing ideally is with our diaphragm. Our diaphragm is a muscle right at the bottom of the ribs. The lungs are on the top of the diaphragm, and all of the organs of the digestive system are right below it. And it's very important that we breathe with our diaphragm. If we're not using our diaphragm to breathe, then that muscle stays kind of stuck at the bottom of the lungs. We breathe using only the top lobes of the lungs, and we're not allowing that diaphragmatic movement to occur. So that way, if it's not moving, we're not then actually causing movement to occur below the diaphragm. We often think of the diaphragm being just simply tied to lungs and to air, but we forget, and this is a really important tool here, when we breathe with our diaphragm, we're actually massaging out our stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, and kidneys and pancreas. And when we're moving those, we're actually allowing movement to occur within those spaces. We're allowing the vagus nerve to turn on. We're allowing digestion to occur. Diaphragmatic breathing is a direct signal to our body that our state of physiology is in that parasympathetic state. This is really important. So keep that in mind. There's the 3 things I want you to do to help upgrade your breathing. Awareness, take a moment. Anytime you feel a little bit out of it, take a moment and become more aware of your breath. 1 hand on the chest, 1 hand on the belly, and allow only the hand that's on the belly to be the one that moves. Number 2, breathe through your nose. The tool that I use, especially at night when I'm unconscious, I'm not aware of where I'm breathing from. I used to wake up with a very dry mouth, is mouth taping, actually taping your mouth shut at night. What an amazing tool. I can't tell you. I got 54% deep sleep last night because I was able to mouth tape and sleep very deeply and calmly and actually get my HRV levels up. Number 3, make sure you're using your diaphragm. Make sure that you're using the muscles that are required for optimal function, because it's not just going to have an effect on your lungs, it's going to have an effect on the rest of your body, on the rest of your system. These are 3 great tips for upgrading your breathing, and not just your breathing, but how to upgrade your health by controlling your breath. I hope this has been wonderful for you. Have a wonderful day.